You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Coffee with Graeme on AETi Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Coffee with Graeme is sponsored by Fabricland Winkler, AETi, Evolve Green, and Murray Chrysler. In today's edition of the show, it's all about hockey. We're starting off with some female hockey talk in this episode. Head coach of the Winnipeg Avros, Ashley van Aggelen, joins me first on today's episode to talk everything Avros. We're going to talk about the roster this team has this season. They got 12 returning players. We're going to talk about some of those returning players. We're also going to be talking about the new players that they added to this team. We'll dive into tryouts a bit. We'll talk about the preseason the Avros had as well, where they went 5-0-1, as well as that first game coming up on Saturday against the Winnipeg Ice. That's coming up on this edition of Coffee with Graeme. First off, with Ashley van Aggelen, head coach of the Winnipeg Avros, here on AETi Productions. And joining me now on Coffee with Graeme is head coach of the Winnipeg Avros, Ashley van Aggelen. Her team doing pretty good in preseason. I'm pretty sure they're done preseason at this point, finishing with 5 wins, 0 regular time losses, and 1 OT loss. But Ashley joins me today. Thanks for taking the time and joining me, as always, here on Coffee with Graeme. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Graeme.
Yeah, no problem. Always great to have you here on the show. Let's talk about this roster. You guys got loads of returning talent this year, only added 5 new pieces. Just you've had a chance to watch this team so far in gameplay, getting the results you guys wanted, obviously, so far. But just speak about the talent, this roster this year that you guys got.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 new D and 3 new forwards. And one of the new D we do have has played in the league for a couple of years, so she does bring obviously some leadership to the back end and some past experiences, so that's good too. We also moved Megan Tomes from forward to defense, and it's really turned out to be a positive for us because she's actually our leading scorer right now. I think she has 8 points in the 6 games we've played, 3 goals. So she's doing really well back there, so it's nice to have that big shot in the back. And then we picked up 4 2006 rookies. So we've got Mackenzie Lizzot from the Twins, and Isabella Huckleck from the Predators, Rory Lepke from the Titans, and then Vanessa Marrera also from the Predators. So we're really excited about the group we have and the talent they bring to the ice, and we feel they fit the mold of our kind of team tactics, kind of package environment and everything like that. So we're really excited to get going. We open up against our crosstown rivals on Saturday against the Ice. So I know the girls are really excited. We're coming off a big weekend, going 4-0 in the Central Plains Showcase. So just really excited. They bring a ton of speed. So for us, our main thing will just be understanding the game a little bit better and being able to play within some systems. It's been a long time since hockey. There's been real hockey games and stuff like that. So it's taking a little bit longer than we expected for their brains to kind of match their feet, but we'll get there for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the record you guys put out, pretty nice to start things off with what you said, the time that's been spent not being able to play hockey just due to the pandemic. But going back to Megan Tomes, the decision to add her to the back end, obviously it's benefited her and the team so far as she's been able to put up some offense from the back end. Just speak about that decision to take that chance and move her to the defensive side of things.
Yeah, actually, when Megan tried out 2 years ago, she's played D like pretty much her whole life. She came out of the Titans program as a defenseman, tried out as a D. As you know, we had like 5 returning defense that were all super high quality players, and with the addition of Lizzie Bird that year, there was really no room for Megan on the back end that year, and we've done it in the past with Cameron Gillis a few years back where we didn't want to lose that player, so we, invited them onto the team in a different position, taught the position. In the end, Megan and Cam both said it, it helped their hockey IQ. They were able to play both positions and see the ice from 2 different positions. So honestly, I think it's only made Megan better. But in the end, like, defense is where she wanted to be, and we're quickly finding out why. She does a really good job on the blue line. So she's got a cannon of a shot. We knew that right off the hop, but I think the difference between Megan's shot and most other girls' shot is that it's her quick release. So a lot of girls want to take the big boomers, but the puck comes east-west across the blue line from her D partner, and Megan can snap a puck like better than I've seen most girls her age, and that's how she's scoring her goals, just quick release. And she's got good reads to beat the shin pads, and she's doing awesome.
Yeah, that's great that the transition has been as smooth as it has been, and just with her having that experience in playing D, and with her trying out as a defenseman for you guys back when she did try out, just great to know that the transition for her has been really nice for you guys so far. Speaking about one of your rookies, Mackenzie Lizzot, leading forward on the team in points right now and leads the team in goals after the preseason, during the preseason. Just speak about how nice it's been to see her come out and play her game throughout the first 6 games you guys have been able to have.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we had a pre scout on Ken's, one just through watching games, and also because one of my assistant coaches was able to coach Ken's in Bantam. So we already knew that she was going to be a great character kid, good for the room. We also knew she was talented and could bring that speed up front. And the first few games we had her playing with Courtney and Nora, and she really stepped up into that role, playing on that top line. And she works really well with those girls. There's a lot of communication between our vets and her, and I think she's doing a really good job. She flies down that wide side and can get in behind the D, and it's not like she's scoring, garbage goals around the scrum. Like she's burying it under the bar and popping water bottles. She's done it twice now where the goalie's water bottles flown in the air. She's sent a few off the crossbar. She's just got great puck skills, and she's determined, and she really wants to get better. And that's one thing is I love the girls asking questions, but she's super competitive and really wants to better herself, and that's really nice to see in somebody that age.
Yeah, and nice to see that all the other rookies have been contributing as well. At least all of them have at least 1 point in the preseason in those 6 games that you guys had. Talking about the returning players, of course, this roster has some nice returning talent. Lizzie Bird, Kylie Johnson, Maggie Matani on the back end, and then Courtney Bays, Nora Collins up front with Marion Rempel, Rhea Herinkowski. Just the list goes on and on. 2 returning goaltenders as well. Just speak about how nice it's going to be to get to see these returning players come back and continue to develop with the Avros this season.
Yeah, obviously, we're super excited. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for a season, and I know our grade 12s between Kylie, Maggie, Courtney, and Nora. The season that could have been 2 years ago when we were going to the provincial finals against the Ice, and then last year we had a really good start to the season too. We were 7-1 when it shut down, and these girls are just itching for their chance, and they're bringing it every day. And I think that's why you see 3 of them wearing letters. Is that the team comes first for them, and they're super excited, and they're giving it everything they can. And I think you can tell by the invites to top 40 and stuff like that on, how much talent we do have on our team. Lizzie Bird's playing phenomenal too right now on the back end. She's playing with a little bit more confidence in the last couple of games. Took a while for our team to get back there just with the pandemic and the shutdown, just getting back to where we were. And I think we're in a good place, but there's still room to grow, obviously. And just really excited for the vets, but also for the rookies. I think we have a kind of a good niche in our dressing room right now. Everyone gets along. Sometimes they get along too much where it's, okay, now I got to be serious, but our leaders have a good handle on that. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I think this could be our year, and our roster is pretty deep this year. So
Yeah, and just looking at the past 3 seasons, right, you guys made it to the finals back in 2018-19 against Westman, came up short then, and then you guys were the best team in the league 2019-2020, unfortunately not getting to play that final series, as everyone knows, due to COVID-19 shutting down, like we've talked about many times before last season, you guys finishing with 7 wins, 1 loss, and just with how the returning talent has been performing and how the rookies have been performing, you guys are looking like you are in for a strong potential championship season year. But just speaking about the results so far, 26 goals for, 12 goals against in these 6 games that you guys have played. Talk about the D zone play and just how the
Mhm.
goaltending has come out for you guys so far.
For sure. Our D zone's actually probably at at the bottom of our well, I'll say at the top of the to-do list, but it hasn't been our forte. So we're struggling in our D zone right now. So to only give up 12 goals, like I got to give props to the goalies on that one. And when I say D zone, I mean unit of 5 or even 6 with the goalie. I don't mean just our D, but at times we're scrambling and we're struggling to figure out our rotation. And when there is breakdowns, we are struggling to kind of regroup and refocus. But like I said, there's room to grow, and I think we'll get there. And that's definitely on the to do list tomorrow in practice. But yeah, our D zone. Westman's got a great team this year. They hemmed us in a little bit, and actually quite a bit in the Central Plains Showcase. The game was pretty even, but they definitely hemmed us in. And I feel like we've got some really good puck moving mobility on the back end, and I think that's really gonna help us. At the same time, in the showcase in the preseason, we did see some second, third opportunities in front of our goalie, which we need to work on. We've changed our style of play in front of the net. So we used to front our players, and we've completely changed that style this year. So our D are playing a little bit different this year. So that's also an adjustment. But yeah, it'll get there. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, a lot of season left to be played, so there's definitely going to be some times to fix stuff like that, right? Talking about the offensive play so far, obviously this team has loads of talent up front, defensemen that can also chip in on the offensive side of things. Just speak about how nice it's been to see the offense perform the way they have so far this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I will say, where we're kind of excelling right now is sharing the puck with each other. We're distributing the puck. Sometimes we need to make a better decision on when and where, but I find that the girls are really sharing the puck with each other this weekend. And coming off that 7-2 win against St. Mary's, I think we were coming into the weekend with a lot of confidence and, you know, just that kind of mentality of pucks to net, pucks to net, pucks deep when the tough areas of the ice and stuff like that. But our big motto is defense creates offense. And as you can see, we've had a lot of defensemen contributing on the back end in terms of assists and goals and stuff like that. And we're doing a really good job to suck teams down low and move the puck to the top. And not only are we scoring off the rush, but we're also scoring in zone off of set plays and stuff like that. And I think we've really come a long way in that. The Avros for a while there would struggle to score. In past years we'd get 50 shots and we would win like 1 or 2 nothing. And now we're getting anywhere between I don't know, 25. And I think we had 52 shots in one of our games on the weekend, and we're scoring anywhere between, like 3 and 7 goals a game. So it's definitely helping. And the girls are doing a really good job to kind of read and react off puck play. So it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, at any level, obviously, it's so important to get as many shots as you can on net, just creating some havoc for the goaltenders. Great that you guys been able to do that so far. Just speaking about the lineups that you guys have had out so far, is there, with the regular season coming up, of course, starting on Saturday, are the lines set at this point, or are you guys looking to maybe switch things up as the season rolls along here at the start?
We kept our lines the same for the first four. So we had our lines set for the PV game, the St. Mary's game, the rink game, and then the Westman game. But then we blew them up because we just didn't feel like the girls were. I guess you can. We just didn't feel like all 15 girls were succeeding in the positions they were in. So we just kind of blew up the lines halfway through our game against Westman, and then kept those lines for the last few games in the showcase. And we actually really like them. We feel we've got a little bit more depth with the 3 lines we have now, and we feel that players are kind of balancing each other out. So what people saw in the first 4 games isn't what they would have seen the last 2. So we're probably going to be staying with those lines going into our games this weekend. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. We're,
Yeah.
we're missing a couple this weekend. We're missing Maggie for sure this weekend. She's away for Ball Hockey Nationals. And we have a couple injuries right now that we're trying to figure out. So
What does that do in terms of just, figuring out how to, adjust for stuff like that when there are players that are away for stuff, like you said, with Maggie, with ball hockey, and just some injuries in the lineup?
yeah, I mean, we have we're still waiting for all the bantam teams to get their official rosters in, right? So I think for us, only one of our 3 AP teams has their official roster in, so we can really only be APing from them. But I'm going to scout a bantam game tonight and hopefully get some signatures for some coaches, and hopefully the Twins will get theirs in shortly. But we've been bringing up we bring up kids as we need to, and we've had an AP skate with us in one exhibition game and a couple practices already, and she fit into the lineup really well. I feel like if we do our due diligence and watch enough hockey and get a pre-scout on these younger kids, that hopefully they can step into the lineup, and we might have to readjust and juggle a couple things, but she did a really good job. She actually had 2 goals against the St. Mary's team on last Wednesday.
Yeah, that's great when you're able to get players that are just aping to come out and score goals like that, right? And I had a chance to talk to Eugene earlier this month here on Coffee with Graham, just speaking about the tryouts and, of course, with how long these girls and just how players have been off of hockey for so long for them to come back and have the type of tryout that they did from what Eugene was telling me. It's nice to see what type of talent you guys had coming out there. Can you just speak from your guys' perspective of what kind of talent you guys saw out there and to, fill in the spots of filling a full roster this year?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's good to have 2 teams back. It's been a few years now, and there's definitely enough talent in Winnipeg to have those 2 teams. And it was tough. Like there was probably a handful, half a dozen girls on there that could easily, have fit on either of our rosters. But I mean, when you only have so many spots to fill, you can't have them all. So it's nice to see, it's nice to see some of them this weekend playing on other teams. So I have good relationships with a bunch of them, and I saw a couple of kids for Eastman, a couple of kids for Central Plains. So it is nice to see them in the league because they deserve to be there. And there was definitely a lot of talent in tryouts, and the tryouts were ran completely differently this year because obviously last year with COVID they couldn't do any battling or anything like that. They had to be in smaller groups. They weren't really even allowed to be up in each other's grill at all. So it was really nice to be back, doing small area games, watching them scrimmage, getting a really good evaluation on them. And I think the 2 teams did a good job.
Just speaking about the goaltenders for you guys, Jenna Gortson, and I won't pronounce her last name because I don't want to butcher it. Always a tough one, Yanina, number 29 for you guys. Just with them having the type of success that they did last year, given that it was in a short amount of time, obviously nice to have 2 returning goaltenders back. Just how have Yanina and Jenna been looking so far? What are you looking in their game this season to take that next step?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, they both came out pretty strong out of the gate. Enina played PB in that first game. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say the team was the best in front of her. We played well enough, well enough to probably win, out shooting PB over 2-1. But PB's goalie stood on her head, and I got to give Pembina Valley props for that. And they had a couple of kids really step up there at the end. But we broke down in front of her. So again, our D zone was our issue, so we broke down in front of her. But it was a good learning experience for us. Yanina's super athletic. She moves in her crease really well. The only thing for Yanina, and she challenges really well, and we saw that on the weekend. She challenges well. She's got a good stick. The only thing for Yanina would be coming out to play the puck a little bit more and getting us on the breakout a little bit quicker, as well as not being caught in her net sometimes. But those would be my things for her to focus on. I think she's doing great. She had a really good weekend this weekend. Obviously, both her goalies went 2-0 this weekend. I know she really, really, really was looking forward to the shutout in the first game, but or not the first game, sorry, the shutout, but didn't end up getting it. So, and then with Jenna, Jenna's obviously she's a bigger body. She covers a lot more net. She's really hard to score on. Jenna plays the puck. She sends the puck up the ice all the time, starts the breakout for us. She's also pretty calm, cool, collected back there, and really communicates well with her D. And I think that's a huge asset for us. two different styles. So, sometimes we do have to adjust on our back end dependent on what goalie's in net. And yeah, we'll go from there.
I've been seeing this motto going around on you guys' social media. I'm pretty sure it's never let enough be enough. Am I
Yeah,
right in that? Yeah.
the
Is
girls
that
chose it.
Yeah, girls chose it this year.
Yeah.
Why did you ever find out why the reason was for them choosing that as the motto this year? Explain the backstory of it.
Yeah, they choose their motto every year. They want it on the back of their shirts, and I always remind them that whatever motto they choose, that's what they're going to live by for the whole season. And if they're going to choose a motto, they better buy into it and actually believe in it. And last year, our motto was no excuses, so they wanted to go all the way. They didn't want to make excuses for any mistakes or make excuses for not working hard or make excuses for like little things like being late. They just wanted to hold each other accountable. And I think this kind of stems off of the no excuses. Never let enough be enough, meaning that we're going to outwork every opponent when we step on the ice, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to win, whether that be on the ice or off the ice, obviously within game rules. But it's just a work ethic thing. And I think when
Right.
when it's all over the place, it's on your shirts, it's on things in the dressing room and stuff like that, and it's in your face all the time. It's really hard to not give it everything you absolutely have. This weekend, that actually did come up because in one of the games, we had girls taking some shifts off and stuff like that. So we talked about it in the room. Like, is this the motto that we for sure want to live and die by? Is this our identity? Because if it's going to be our identity, then everybody better be focusing on never letting enough be enough and emptying the tank on every shift. And I think we saw it in the next game when we played Weyburn. We had probably puck possession 70-30 that game. So I think it was just a reality check for them. But I'm really impressed with what they're bringing, rookies and vets. I think it's going to be a fantastic year.
The leadership group that was chosen this year, Courtney Bays being the only returning captain, I guess we'll call it that, from last year, an assistant last year being promoted to team captain, of course, taking over that duty, I guess we'll call it that, from Trinity Grove, Nora Collins and Maggie Matani getting named as assistants. Just speak about the leadership group this year, how huge it's going to be to have those players wearing letters.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, they're huge role models, both on the ice, in the room, and in the gym. And with Court kind of embodies that never let enough be enough in everything she does in her life. And she's great for the girls. She communicates with the girls. She understands hockey, so she can help the girls on the ice, on the bench. And she's a huge communicator. She actually also organized our team builder 2 weekends ago. We did a murder mystery, and her mom designed the whole thing. It was super fun. And
Awesome.
she's really good at keeping that team culture. And she's just so positive, and the girls just love her. Every time we have an AP, everyone speaks so highly. Oh, the captain was so nice to me, and and she just kind of, like I said, embodies everything you can imagine in a leader. And then with Nora and Maggie, they're a little bit different. Like, Nora's a little bit more of a quiet leader and just leads by example on the ice, and but is like super humble, and the girls really feel comfortable around her as well. And then with Maggie's more of a communicator like Court, so she's outspoken on the bench, and she really leads that back end. And she probably finished the showcase this weekend playing her best, actually, and really looking forward to what all three of them bring. And yeah, I think they're just honestly just great people, and that's what we kind of focus our program on when we select players, is not only selecting good hockey players but selecting good humans, and those three are definitely good humans. So
Just diving into Courtney Bays seems like we do it every time because since I've been covering your team, she's been such a prominent player for you guys. Of course, she ends up winning an MFHL playoff MVP in 2019-2020, winning Avros Rookie of the Year in that same year, as that was her first year. Last season, she was having an extremely impressive season before going out with an MCL injury. The season ended up being canceled anyways after that, but just for her to recover and be in the place where she's at now, being productive in the preseason, having a strong start to her year, just how inspiring is it? It's just for the whole team and for you guys as a coaching staff to see the strides Courtney made in her recovery and getting back to 100%.
yeah, absolutely. It's tough because people that haven't been through injury don't understand, and Courtney's been really, really positive through the whole thing. Obviously, when you are a high level athlete and injury strikes, there's some adversity there, both before and after surgery. And Courtney did everything she could to get herself healthy and be back on the ice in a certain time frame. Didn't push when we didn't want her to push, but followed doctor's orders and worked herself out in the gym all the time with physio and got herself strong again. And she's back to where she was, and I have no doubt she'll be even better by the end of the season and ready for her university career. And like I said, she brings so much strength to our program in all aspects of her game. And and I just think that Courtney's like, I can't even explain how mentally tough that kid is. She's probably gonna laugh at that, but I've seen her go through a lot, and she's a mentally tough, physically tough kid.
Well, definitely great to have a player like that is not only wearing a letter, but wearing the C on the team this year. She does deserve it. 110%, we'll call it that. Just talking about this week, you guys got to practice tomorrow, today actually, since this episode is coming out today, and on Thursday. Then you got a team workout on Wednesday. 2 games, of course, the home opener, not the home opener, the season opener on the road against the Winnipeg Ice, and then at Shoal Lake on Sunday against the Yellowhead Chiefs. Yellowhead looking to be a strong team this season. Of course, the Winnipeg Ice should be an interesting team as well, with just the new players they got coming up, the players that they've lost from last year, how they'll do. But just speak about what the mindset is heading into this first weekend of real games for this team this year.
Yeah, we the mindset for us right now, well, what we're working on, obviously D zone special teams, but the mindset is just continuing to build every time we step on the ice and continuing to grow and get better. And we talked about that on the weekend. Like, we don't want to set a ceiling for ourselves. We want that ceiling. We just don't even want a ceiling at all. We just want to keep striving to get better and better and better. And I felt throughout the weekend that was the case. I thought we finished the weekend playing our best, minus about 10 minutes of our last game. But, we just keep talking about no steps backwards, and just keep pushing on the ice to be better as a group. And obviously the individual skill comes too, but just as a group is the main focus. And obviously going into the ice, we'll be focusing on systems. I know today, like I said, tomorrow is a D zone / special teams practice. And then on Thursday, we're going to get back to battling pretty hard and winning our battles along the wall and separating players from pucks and get ready to go into war on the weekend. And that'll kind of be where we're at. We've got a pretty good pre-scout on the ice. We know what they bring. We know all their players. So hopefully we can work our magic and see how the season opener goes.
And of course, the Avros season starting off this Saturday, a crosstown rivalry at the Bell MTS Iceplex against the Winnipeg Ice. That game starts at 6:30 p.m. And then the next day, the Avros are right back at it against the Yellowhead Chiefs on the road once again at 2:30 p.m. at Shoal Lake. And coming up after the commercial break, Troy Sauster, Media Relations Coordinator for the Delisle Chiefs in the PJHL, that's the Prairie Junior Hockey League, joins me to talk about some Chiefs hockey here on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5-EVOLVE. Or support at evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graham on ASTV Productions. Joining me second on this edition of the show is Troy Sauster, Media Relations Coordinator for the Delisle Chiefs. Their team, well, the team that he is on the staff for, the Delisle Chiefs, start off their regular season this Saturday against the Saskatoon Royals. Troy, joining me tonight, pre-recorded of course before this episode goes out today on Tuesday, to just talk about the history of the team, when he started off with the team, the coaching staff, the scouting, this year's roster, and just the hype heading into that first game of the regular season. But Troy, great for you to be on here, even though it is late on this Monday evening. How are you doing? Nice to meet you.
Doing well, thanks, Graeme. It's good to be on. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem. Great to hear that you're doing good. And yeah, it's going to be fun to talk about some Chiefs hockey here tonight. Let's just start off with the history of the team. Rather, when you started with this team as the media relations coordinator, when exactly was that?
So I've been with the Chiefs for about 7 or 8 years now. Originally came on as the public address announcer. And then a couple of years after that, I kind of took on a new role, adding communications coordinator and media relations coordinator to that. So very busy with the with the announcing, but also with some game day operations. And then whenever things come up with trades, signings, player movements, staff hiring, things like that, that's where I put together some media releases and get those out to the media. So that's kind of, I guess that's sort of the Coles Notes version of what I do for the Chiefs. But yeah, I think this is my 7th year, and it's been a great, you can see the progress of the team over that 7 or 8 years, just from top to bottom. When I joined the team, they already were a great organization, but every year we just add a new wrinkle here or there, something to tweak, whether it's our game day or whether it's adding things for the team, for the players, little things. We've put together things like dad's trips and parents weekends and things like that. So it's been a nice evolution over those 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, that's great that you guys are incorporating stuff like that now, like dad's trips, parents' trips, stuff like that, making it fun for everyone involved with the team, right? And I gotta ask you this. Obviously, you enjoy your job as media relations coordinator, but I feel like you might enjoy the job, being the voice as well out there. What job would you say that you prefer the most on the team if you had to pick one?
Well, I mean, 7 or 8 years ago, like I said, started as the public address announcer. I don't know, it's just, if you knew me, if you put me in front of a microphone and said, "Here, you got to do this," I might be a little nervous and a little hesitant, but um, you know, I would probably pick the microphone, the public address announcing. It's just something that I gravitate to. A while back when I came out of high school, I was actually in broadcasting, so
That's
uh,
awesome.
I took a different career path after I came out of broadcasting. But it's funny that all those years later, it just kind of came back to it again, and you know, 3 or 4 years ago, we partnered up with one of the local radio stations here in Rosetown, Kindersley, and I got to do some color commentary on a broadcast. So that was, you know, given where I came from, that was a thrill, and that'd be something that I would love to get back into doing again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've had a chance to do some color, mostly play-by-play now. I do play-by-play for Palamon Hockey Academy here on ASTV. It's lots of fun. Definitely, if anyone out there has an opportunity to do it, definitely take it. It could be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's definitely something you shouldn't take for granted either. But we'll go away from the broadcasting side of things in your life. Just continue talking about the Chiefs. You talked about how when you joined the team back then, about 7 years ago, how it was already a great organization. But throughout the time that you've been here, how have you found that things have changed in terms of the way that the coaching staff that has been here, the multiple coaching staffs, whatever it is, and the way that the Chiefs run their organization?
Well, it's I'll start at the top with the president, Wes Noon. Um, Wes, there was two or three partners that originally bought the Chiefs and moved them to Delisle. And just over the years, life changes. A couple of the other fellas have decided to move on, and so now Wes is the president of the team, and it kind of all starts with him. Wes is a he's great at, and he'll be the first one to say this. What he likes to say is, if you have ideas on what we can do to make the team uh, better in terms of the overall product, things like that, I'm happy to just let's run with it. Let's see how it goes. And so Wes gives us a lot of freedom to be able to put those ideas into place that we like to do, i.e. the parents trips and the father's trips, things like that. So it all starts with him. And then with Eric Ditto, the head coach and GM, I think it was the first year that I was with Delisle. Eric joined the team partway through, and Eric is somebody who has a history with the Chiefs. He was a player for the Chiefs for 2 or 3 years. At the end of his junior career, and then he was sort of away from the hockey club for a year or so, and then he came back as a head coach. So Eric was the all-time scoring leader in the Prairie Junior Hockey League. So
Wow.
he comes back to the team with a lot of playing experience, and he did have some coaching experience in sort of, I guess, a developmental grassroots sort of. I think it was Can-Am or something like that with that program, and he he's an innovative coach. He's a smart coach. He studies film. He 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 um, he he'll look at other teams and study the teams. He won't get out coached. He's somebody who he takes that job very seriously, and so he also took over as GM. So now he's not only is he coaching the team, but he's had a chance to sort of build how he wants the team to look, bringing in the kind of players that he wants. And then, we haven't announced it, but we've hired a new assistant coach, someone who has playing experience with the Chiefs, and somebody who played some junior A hockey as well. So that we'll be looking to announce that here probably, hopefully prior to this weekend for our season opener. And then we've hired a kind of a new scout to work for us too. Wade Harris is his name. Somebody with a lot of, I guess, he's coached. He's been a GM. Spent ton of time in the rink every winter, and so now he's excited to be joining the Chiefs and to be out there. Turning over all the stones and rocks and looking for the next diamond in the rough, the next possible chief that's out there. So, um, when you look at it from the top down with the president, and then with Eric and the coaching staff he's put together, um, it's it's a pretty solid base, and it's just an organization that I have enjoyed my time with. Again, you know, those guys give me lots of freedom to be able to implement some new ideas if I come up with it. Whether we'll brainstorm about things that could work, and maybe they don't, but at least we'll give it a shot. And then we have an excellent person in Amanda Radford, who kind of does a lot of the social media and a lot of the other things behind the scenes too, as far as helping the team get set up in Delisle with the room and jerseys and all that kind of stuff. So when you look at the overall picture, it's a solid group to work with. And one of the other things that maybe not a lot of other junior B teams have is a chaplain. we also have a chaplain, and I think that, that's somebody who, his name is Zeke, and he's great. He works with the guys behind the scenes. If anybody really just wants to chat, and he goes out and he works out with the guys, and he does a lot of the sort of the dry land training with the guys in the off season. So, it's just a great organization to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. Really seems like it's a family. Everyone cares about each other, which is great. And going back to Eric, of course, with you saying, where he played his junior hockey and him, being the all-time leading point getter in the PJHL, just having a guy like that, has familiarity playing in the league. Beneficial, of course, but having a guy that also, cares about a place like Delisle and is giving back, just how huge is it to have a guy like that, not only as the coach, but as GM as well?
Well, you make a good point. It's he knows the town, he knows the community. That I think that was important. Uh, you get to draw back from somebody who was an alumni, um, knows what they're coming to when they come back to the organization. There's no surprises for him, so he's already got that comfort level of being in the rink, being in that room. Just knows how the community operates, and I think he also has a good vibe and a good feel for what the community wants to see in terms of the product that they're putting on the ice. So again, with him being able to go out and look for those players, that sure helps. And one of the things he's made a conscientious effort of over the last 2 or 3 years is trying to get as many local players as possible. Um, it's an easy way for the community to connect when there's local talent on the team. So he has made a very good effort in trying to draw those local players too.
Going into, yeah, just looking at that, that's great. Just trying to build something that's local, right? And build roots like that, which I think could be really beneficial if it pays off. And it obviously has in the past for you guys. It's just the
Yeah,
success that you've had. But looking at you being media relations coordinator, obviously, like you said, you put out press releases like announcing when trades happen, stuff like that. I had two players on the team, Kellen Taphorn and Shane Collins, on two players that you guys acquired during this offseason via trade. Just speak about what the scouting has been like, the trades and stuff for Delisle has been like during this 2021-2022 offseason before the 2021-2022 season.
yeah. It's I guess it'd be a bit of a strange season coming in. You built Eric built the team last year, um, and you can only have so many 20-year-olds, right? And so last year we were going to have a solid team as well with the returning 20-year-olds that we had, and I think that with no season happening, it's you know and with no some of the other feeder leagues, they didn't play much either, so you really come into the season wondering where you're going to draw your players from. But um, I think that Eric has a lot of contacts around, be it in U18 AAA or Junior A. There's teams around Saskatchewan and Junior A that Eric's worked very closely with and stayed in touch with. So, um, we've built, I think, a bit of a, I don't know what the right word is. I guess just the teams out there know who the Chiefs are, and so when Eric talks to some of these players about possibly coming and playing here, they already know. They already know what we're about. They hear it from some of their teammates that they've played with, and maybe guys who've come through Delisle. Um, Again, I think if I look back to the previous point of having a guy like Wade Harris with us, who comes from the North Battleford area. Uh, I think one of the things, if you look at our roster, you'll see that we have had a pretty strong connection with the teams around Battleford, be it U18 AA or AAA. So you have some players who've played together in U18 AAA, and so it's sort of a natural draw for some of those guys who maybe they're still a step away from playing Junior A if that's their goal, and they maybe need a little bit more time. So I think that we have built a bit of a, I guess, like I said before, a foundation, and there is a draw now from some of those AAA players that if they've chosen that maybe they want to work or maybe they want to go to university instead of pursuing a career in junior A, we're only a 15-minute drive outside of Saskatoon, so it's a pretty easy drive to get to Delisle to play. And seeing as how there's 3 teams in Saskatoon that in our league, in our division, a lot of our games are in Saskatoon. So, a couple of young guys like Kylan and Shane coming from Yorkton and the Melville area coming up to university, they've been out skating with us and they've been to camp, and I think you can't wipe the smiles off their face. They're really excited to be there and get the season going.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Troy Sauster, Media Relations Coordinator for the Delisle Chiefs in the PJHL, joins me on the show for the second part of this Tuesday edition of Coffee with Graeme. And yeah, I've just been talking to Troy about just his backstory of how he joined this team as their media relations coordinator. He's also the public address announcer, which is pretty cool. Just talking about the coaching staff that this team has, as well as the scouting that they do as well, into bringing players into the roster. Talked about that trade they made for Callan Taphorn and Shane Collins as well. And yeah, we'll dive into this year's team. 11 returning players, returning all 5 defensemen, returning 5 defensemen on this year's team, all in year 3. Experience on the back end, never a bad thing. Just speak about the experience that this decor has this season for Delisle.
I think you talk to Eric or most other coaches, they'll tell you that winning a championship, you start with the defense first and the back end. And so I think bringing back a ton of experience with 5 guys who are in their 3rd year, that's going to be a huge part of solidifying that back end. And then we return a 3rd year goaltender too in Tyler Peterson. So already at the back it's pretty strong. So just looking to add probably maybe a couple of rookies on defense. And then we added Noah Martins, a goaltender out of the Swift Current Legionnaires AAA program too. So again, I think that that whole back end is pretty solid. I think led by a guy like Troy Kosminka, who played AAA with the Beardy's Blackhawks and then had a little bit of time with the Kindersley Clippers as well in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. So, again, when you look at that back end, it's pretty solid. You've got, Jackson Halperal, Adam Bradley, Cole Youngman, and Tyson Tuck. There's a lot of speed. There's a lot of grit. That whole defensive core gives you just about a little bit of everything that you can ask for.
Yeah, coach's dream for sure when you're able to have all of those things, right, as well as that experience. But yeah, talking about Ty Peterson, 3rd year goaltender this year, has had 2 solid seasons in his career so far. Went 1-1 this preseason and had a .872 save percentage along with a 3.37 goals against average. Obviously some struggles, but it's just preseason working out the kinks, right? For Ty, a guy that's been so solid throughout his whole career so far, just for you from a fan's perspective, what's one thing that you're interested in seeing in Ty's game and potentially getting better this season in his 3rd year?
I think if you step back for a second and that first preseason game that Ty played, I think we maybe only had 6 vets in that lineup, so we went with a mostly rookie lineup. So and again, knocking the rust off after basically a whole year off. So Ty is a guy who I think that he just gets better as the year goes along. He 2 years ago, he took the job and ran with it. Our other goaltender that year, Seamus McLeod, he got called up by the LaRange Ice Wolves. And so Ty sort of went the last month and just ran with it. And And then we got to the playoffs. We won our first round in the playoffs, and he had a 4-0 record. I think he had 2 shutouts. He had a goals against average that I think was under 1. And, then the season ended because of the pandemic. So I think that with Ty, it's just as the season goes, he gets better. And I think over the 2 years that he's played, he's again gotten better over those 2 years. So I look at this year and I think, for Ty, I think the sky's the limit. And then also, you got a young guy too, and Noah Martins, who he's he stood pretty tall so far in the preseason. So I'm really just looking forward to watching both of those guys continue to grow.
Yeah, should be exciting for sure for anyone that is a Delisle Chiefs fan, and for anyone that comes out to watch you guys' game to see how Ty performs in this third year. Speaking of somebody that had a huge preseason or had a solid preseason was Luke Dyer, third year forward, led team in points this preseason, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, had 49 points in 40 regular season games in the last season that was able to be a full regular season in 2019-2020.
Yeah.
6 points in 4 playoff games too that season as well. Just speak about the progression you've seen in Luke's game for that, just continuously getting better throughout his 2 seasons in the league.
Yeah, I think, with Luke, his rookie year, I'm going to be biased. I'm just going to say it. I believe that Luke should have won the Rookie of the Year in the Prairie Junior Hockey League. That's no slight against the young fella who won it, but watching Luke every day, and man, he's not the biggest guy in the world. He just works so hard, and he's not afraid to get into the dirty spots on the ice. And so I personally believe I thought he deserved Rookie of the Year in his first year. And then just, again, as time has gone by, I think Luke, he's played with some really good really good scorers, and he's a slick little player. He's shifty, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his game continue to evolve this year as well. I think that he's going to probably be playing on a line with Chad Westman, who's a 6th-year player, if you can imagine that, in Junior B, and he's, again, I think, add Luke to that, and I believe he's setting up for a really strong season.
Yeah, and just nuts in his rookie season to put up 49 points in those 40 games, continue it with a strong performance in the playoffs. Definitely a bright future for him
Yeah,
in hockey, especially with this team. A bright future in this season, I guess, for him,
yeah,
depending on where he ends up in the lineup. But talking about the captain, the man that started off when he was 16 years old with this team, Chad Westman, a guy that has posted back-to-back seasons north of 60 points in the regular season, solid playoff performer as well. Just since Chad has gone here, it's going to be his 6th year now. Just speak about the growth and maturity you've seen throughout Chad's career.
yeah. He came to the Chiefs as a 16-year-old, and again, it's been quite a fun evolution watching Chad grow. I mean, he got to play for 2 or 3 other captains, and you can see the potential in him to be a captain, and he's taken that little bit of leadership from each of the other guys that he's played with as captains, and you can see it all just sort of come together as a bit of a package. And if we didn't have I think Chad was on pace to break a couple of records. I think if the season wouldn't have got scrubbed last year, he definitely would have had a shot at taking a run at the all-time Prairie Junior Hockey League games played record. Given the fact he started at 16, he would have probably passed that. And as well, I think he may have been a guy who might have been inside the top 10, maybe higher, as far as overall scoring in Prairie Junior Hockey League history as well. So I know that Chad is a guy who takes that C on his chest very seriously, and I think he's ready to take the team on his back and go. And he's driven because he wants to win a championship after being in the league for 6 years. He really wants to take the team to that next step and win a provincial championship.
Yeah, and him along with Luke are going to be a huge part of this offensive production this year. Of course, three second-year forwards returning to this team to go along with Chad and Luke. Just speak about how the rest of this offense could be shaping up for this team this year. You guys had 11 goals for in the three preseason games you had. Just yeah, talk about this offensive group this year for the Delisle Chiefs.
I think it's going to be very deep. Uh, when you already have the players that you had in the forward group, and then you acquire Shane and you acquired Kylan, and we had the ability to be able to sign Kyle Heinz and also Easton Ediger. And then with the West Central Rage expansion draft, we were able to acquire the first overall pick and get a guy like Dallas Galloway and also Adam Horner, and then to add Troy Joyce too, all former Rage players last year. I believe that's going to give us three, three lines who can, any one of those guys can score, but I believe that it gives us four deep lines that have offense, that have guys who have the capability to also take on the roles of penalty killing. So I just think it's going to be a deep group, and I think if you looked at the scoring in the preseason in those three games, probably something like 16 or 17, maybe more, 16, 17, 18 of those guys had points. So I think it's going to be a balanced attack, but I also believe that, you add in a guy like Colby Rolston too, who, he had, I believe he had 8 points in 5 games last year. There's just going to be a ton of depth, even with 18-year-olds adding to that mix. There's going to be lots of depth.
Yeah, had Colby on last year. Another great individual that you guys have, and yeah, definitely. Just looking at the stats, it was evident that there was a lot of scoring throughout the lineup, a lot of depth. So definitely,
Yeah.
to your point, should be a pretty deep attack this year that you guys have. Just speaking about the preseason, obviously the team, not in regular season mode in those three games, but 2-1 record. 11 goals for, as mentioned before, 9 goals against, 2 games played at home as well. Just speak about how things were looking from this roster, this group in the preseason.
Again, I think, you know, there was still a lot of rookies playing through those 3 games. Um, so they got to learn some chemistry to play with each other. Obviously, uh, like I said before, there's 4 or 5 guys in that group who played uh, with the Battleford Stars AAA team. Last year there was Easton Ediger and Kyle Heinz, Kaylee LaHoulier. So those guys probably played together a little bit last year, and then you know you add in the 3 names I mentioned coming from West Central. So um, it's just going to be, I believe it's going to be a balanced attack. And, there's going to be guys who maybe on other teams were counted on for offensive output. But with this team, I believe like our top 6, whoever that may be, is going to be solid, and it's going to stack up against any other top 6 forward group with any other team. And then you can mix in a couple of lines that, one minute they could be killing penalties or being a checking line, and the next minute they could be guys that are out on the power play.
Yeah, lots of options for sure. Going to be exciting to see just everything that this team can offer this season. And it starts for the team, you guys, on October 2nd, this Saturday, home opener, season opener against the Saskatoon Royals. You guys have already had 2 games at home in the preseason, of course, nothing like the season opener though, especially it being at home. Just first off, with just how long hockey has been away, to see it return, seeing that first game at home against a team like Saskatoon, just what's the buzz around the team, just knowing that there's going to be fans and knowing that hockey is going to be back in full swing on Saturday.
I think that there's a lot of excitement. Um, I think that there's big things planned. Um, one of the things we always do in Delisle is we have a great player introduction for our lights get turned down in the rink. So we have a great player introduction for those guys in that season opener. So I think there's always a little bit of buzz talking about that. They can't wait for that. And like you said, to have fans back in the rink again. I know for the 3 preseason games that we did have, even with the 2 in Delisle and the 1 in the Saskatoon, it was great to see people back in the rink. And social distance or not, I know I got a couple of the parents who came up to me and gave me big hugs because they were just so excited to be back in the rink. So of course masks on, but
Yeah.
but hugs and handshakes were in order. And I think you touched on it before. One of the things about the team is it's definitely a family oriented organization. And in all the years I've been there, there's always been, the parent groups have been just tremendous. And I'm excited to see those parents back in the rink. One thing about the Chiefs family is they travel really well. It doesn't matter where we play. There's lots of Chiefs fans that travel, lots of parents. And so I think that they just can't wait to get back to the rink and or get on a bus and follow the team wherever we might be going. They're just excited to get back to it. So Saturday night, yeah, there's definitely a buzz for that game Saturday night in Delisle.
Yeah, you couldn't see it going any other way. Just with hockey finally being back, and in terms of just the PJHL, gonna be awesome to see just the fans that you guys get out there, and to see the product of hockey that's gonna be played. And speaking of that, your guys' opponent, Saskatoon Royals. First game of the regular season going up against them. What's the scouting report like on that team in terms of what Delisle's going to have to do, in your opinion, to go out and get that first W of the season?
I think that with a lot of those players being around Saskatoon and much the same for our guys, I think the two teams know each other quite well. Everybody knows each other's tendencies because they've played against each other for years already. But I think that just we have to start the first game with some speed and maybe with some physicality and kind of set the tone at home. You want to make sure that you want to make sure that you set the tone in your own rink. And so I think that that first 10 minutes on Saturday night should probably be pretty intense. And we've had 2 games against those guys already this year, and you can kind of feel that there's a little bit of a rivalry sort of already starting. So yeah, I think it'll just be exciting to get out there and start to see guys flying around and get it going.
And Troy Sauster, Media Relations Coordinator for the Delisle Chiefs, joining me on this edition of Coffee with Graeme to talk some Chiefs hockey. Of course, the Chiefs in action for the first time in the 2021-2022 regular season at home on Saturday against the Saskatoon Royals. We're going to throw it to one last commercial break here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme. Stick around after the break for some final words here on this edition of the show here on AETi Productions. Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on AETi Productions. Of course, with that being the final commercial break of today's episode, we're going to be signing off now. Well, I'll be signing off now, but before I do that, I want to say some final words. I want to thank Ashley van Aggelen, head coach of the Winnipeg Avros, and Troy Sauster, Media Relations Coordinator of the Delisle Chiefs and the PJHL, for taking the time and joining me on this Tuesday edition of the show. I also want to thank you, the viewer for taking the time out of your Tuesday morning and watching Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV. And I also want to thank the official sponsors of Coffee with Graeme and Fabricland Winkler, Evolve Green, AETi, and Murray Chrysler. One thing before I end off, though, for all you guys who might tune into Rise and Shine Manitoba, the Manitoba newscast that we do here on ASTV, we always do our Rise and Shine Manitoba episodes on Monday. Well, not all the time. We've done it on Wednesdays sometimes, and that is the announcement I want to make. We're moving Rise and Shine Manitoba from Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time to Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. So don't worry, if you're a fan of the show, nothing is going to change except for the day that it airs. It's going to air on Wednesdays moving forward, and that means you can catch the newest edition of Rise and Shine Manitoba tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. You can catch that episode live on our Facebook at ASTV Productions, on our website at astvproductions.com, or on our Twitter at Amateur Sports TV. As for when the newest edition of Coffee with Graeme will be coming out, even though today's episode is the newest one after this one is coming out on Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You guys can catch that one on our Facebook or on our website. So until Thursday, folks, I've been your host of Coffee with Graeme, Graeme Forsyth, signing off now. Until Thursday morning, stay safe out there. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you Thursday. Peace, everyone.